So it's Friday morning about 7 a.m. heading over to Daytona. It's about a 150-mile ride. You could see the route I took on the screen here. And this is there's many ways of getting to Daytona from the West Coast where I'm at, but this is about the best riding. Mainly 42 is the best part of the ride. The rest of it's kind of boring. I first stopped at the Speedway where, well, it's been a little more vendors than years past. Nothing fantastic. This place used to be filled with vendors. And they're still making those big wheel motorcycles that you can only ride straight. It's good to see that. Here's a BMW. Nice custom factory paint job. They do a great job, BMW, with their paint. Some say even better than Harley Davidson. Of course, I ran into some fans while I was there. Guys walked up, said hello, so they subscribed to the channel. And I always like meeting the folks and, talking about the YouTube channel and my videos. And when they let me know how much I've helped them in their riding life, it's just a wonderful feeling. To think that I've helped so many people, and most of which I'll never meet, it's just a very wonderful, humbling feeling. I enjoyed meeting them very much. And then I ran into Doodle on a motorcycle. You've probably seen some of the videos. I've trained Doodle a couple of times. She does a really good job. And if you've never watched her channel, Doodle on a Motorcycle, you need to watch it. It's the most entertaining channel on YouTube. Of course, we ran into a fan who actually knew both of us, which is kind of unusual, but I guess it happens. And had a little talk with him, a few laughs. If you're wondering why there's no sound to the video, it's because they're playing so much music in the background. I didn't want to run into copyright difficulties with YouTube, so most of this is going to be a voiceover. And there's Doodle looking good as ever. A couple of fans here from the Philippines. Yes, they watch my YouTube channel all the way from the Philippines. Of course, we took some pictures, signed some autographs, and here's a ride down Main Street. Now, I haven't been to Main Street in quite a while because to me it's 85 degrees out now. It's hot as hell, and it's bumper to bumper traffic. But people wanted to see that, so that's why I showed it to you. Now here I'm at Destination Daytona, and it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually I get there about 10 a.m. and it's not nearly as crowded, but it took about a half hour to go 100 yards from the I-95 to the entrance to Destination Daytona. And it's, again, bumper-to-bumper traffic. Here's another fan I happened to run into over there. Love talking to the folks. If you've got any suggestions of what you'd like to see on my videos, just let me know. Vendors galore at Destination Daytona. Probably the biggest vendor spot. Now, in years past, it used to be US 1, which is also known as Ridgewood Avenue, was filled with vendors for miles, but they stopped all street parking on Ridgewood Avenue. So now everything has really moved, at least the vendor portion of it, to Destination Daytona, which is Ross Meyer's Harley Davidson. And ran into a pinstriper here. I looked at some of his work. It looks great. I asked him if he wanted to be on YouTube, and he said no, he had too much business as it is. Get away from me. But this is some of the nice work that he puts out. And he didn't have to clear coat over the paint that he puts on here. He says he uses, of course, automotive paint, and there's no reason to clear coat the entire fairing or whatever it is that you're painting. But it looks great. Don't know what he charges. Didn't want to talk too much, but, well, that's the game. It's already jam-packed. Here's one of those dollies that you could ride your motorcycle on and move around in the garage. And I'm telling you, every vendor that you could possibly think of is at Destination Daytona. It's usually, by the way, if you've been there once, you've seen the same vendors because they like to have the same spot that they've always had. But there's a lot of stuff that you won't find on the internet at these locations. And now we moved up to the area of J&P Cycles, and I happened to run into the Dirty Vagabond. He's actually making believe he's doing something. He's always there with Memphis Shades, but I've never seen him actually work. So I think he saw me coming, and he said, well, I think I'll make like I'm doing something. He's going to be traveling all over the South America, Central America. And of course, we've got to go inside the dealership, which is usually jammed during Biketoberfest or Bike Week for that matter. This is one of the biggest Harley Davidson dealerships in the country. Had a lot of used police motorcycles. It's a good buy for anyone looking for a used bike because they all come with the RDRS system and the ABS as standard. So if you could find one with low mileage, it's a good buy. They always have some motorcycles there too that they have custom painted. Again, inside the dealership, lots of people. Here's Harley's new paint job, which looks great. I think it's about a $4,000 extra. I'm not positive, but I guess custom paint costs a lot these days. As far as their inventory, since they sell so many bikes, from what I understand how this works is the more motorcycles you sell, of course, the more motorcycles you're going to send to the dealership. And they've always got plenty of new bikes. At one time, before COVID and the supply chain problems, this dealership would have 150 or 200 motorcycles, new motorcycles on the floor. I don't know how many they have now, but it's more than most dealerships that I've seen. They also have a great selection of used bikes. Thankfully, I didn't have to go through the closed section because my wife wasn't with me, and that saves me a bunch of money. There are 2 floors at Destination Daytona, and generally upstairs they keep the used motorcycles. Again, a great selection of bikes. Most of maybe 1 or 2 year old motorcycles, and they also have a good collection of classic Harley Davidson motorcycles. But that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough Biketoberfest. The weather was great, a little warm, mid-80s, still kind of humid, but from what they're telling me, next week it's going to cool down. We're just getting into our riding season here in Florida. To me, the riding season is in from about November all the way through May. The weather is just perfect. Hope you enjoyed it.